What's up, average viewers? The black phone is calling theaters. Is it worth picking up, or should you just let it go to voicemail?
For more cringy intros to reviews by an average guy for the average person, click that subscribe button. But for now, let's jump into my black phone review. I am a wuss when it comes to horror, and this movie looked really spooky, scary, and disturbing. I had my baby blanket and my teddy bear with me so I could cover my eyes, but I didn't need it. This movie had 1 or 2 jump scares. It's more of a thriller than a horror. Not that that's a bad thing, you just need to have that expectation so you don't expect to be terrified, like with Scott Derrickson's other movie, Sinister. All of the scary or horror-like scenes are in the trailer. And don't get me wrong, you guys, this trailer was truly one of the greatest trailers I've ever seen. It got me, a person who doesn't love horror, excited to see this movie. It promised a really cool concept and some frightening yet captivating imagery like Ethan Hawke's devil mask. And the trailer did its job because this small budget movie had the theater full of people. However, I'm sad to say that this movie fell short of its potential, and all the greatest moments were in the trailer. Does that mean that this movie is bad? No, I think that this is a good movie, and it's a lot better than a lot of the horror coming out these days. It's actually pretty suspenseful the majority of the time, and the cinematography is pretty great. There's some good sound design in there, there's good performances, the concept is really cool and well executed for the most part, but overall it just didn't quite satisfy the way that it should have. Now, this really comes down to personal preference, because for a lot of people, everything about this movie is going to work, and that's awesome. I'm glad you liked it. But this is my channel, and so I'm going to explain why I think it fell short. When I say it fell short, what I'm saying is that this movie has a really great concept. From what I can tell, it's original, it's unique, it's a cool spin on the kidnapping genre, but this movie could have used a little bit of tightening up and could have done without a few side storylines. It spent too much time on these side elements when it should have developed Ethan Hawke's character and given us a little bit more there. Ethan Hawke did great in this movie, and he's a really strange and erratic, angry antagonist, but we don't see enough of him. We don't get to see him play the game or emotionally manipulate enough, or do those Homelander power moves as much as we should have. From the trailers, I wanted to see this magician kidnap people using magic tricks, but that's not really depicted. There's no magic going on. I wish that were explored. I wish the psychology of Ethan Hawke's character was explored. I wanted a peek into his mind to understand his motivations and why he does what he does and has his certain mannerisms like using balloons or wearing a mask. I get that maybe he's just a weird, quirky guy with a sick fantasy, but we don't even know what his fantasy is. Does he enjoy the killing? Does he sexually abuse? Does he want to have a father-son thing going on? We don't really know. I understand that it's not necessary to know a kidnapper's motivation, but in other movies like Split and Silence of the Lambs, we really get to spend time in the mind of our antagonist, even if it's sick and twisted and we don't want to sympathize. That being said, Ethan Hawke has an awesome performance, even though I wish we got to see him a little bit more. If I'm being honest, the majority of everyone else does fine, but there are a few people who act about as good as a soggy bowl of Cinnamon Toast Crunch, particularly Finn's sister, who sounds really robotic, performative, and wooden. I will say there's a scene where she's getting hit with a belt and she's bawling her eyes out, and that was done really well. Great performance, a very visceral and heart-wrenching, believable cry, unlike this.
I didn't want to leave him. I didn't want this to be the reality. I didn't want to have the man I was in love with. I know you don't come back from that, you know.
This makes me wonder if the writers just didn't know how to write kids' dialogue. None of the kids really act or talk like a kid. All the words they say to each other when they're fighting or bullying just sound a lot more mature than however old they're supposed to be. So maybe we have a prequel situation going on where the dialogue is just pretty bad and our actors are more than capable. Again, this story was intriguing, but maybe the movie wasn't long enough to resolve the story perfectly and give us a satisfying character arc. The dad character feels really shoehorned in, and his performance is actually kind of laughable at times. It feels like he was trying hard to make this the role of a lifetime. The sister's superpower dream stuff is kind of convenient, provides exposition, and it's glossed over. The explanation they give for it is really forced and doesn't really clarify anything. There's a lot of characters that have convenient blind spots, like how did Ethan never once notice that the window grate was missing or that there was a rug covering a hole, or how did his brother never see him sitting in the kitchen shirtless at night? It's just minor things like that that took me out of the movie enough to ruin some of the suspense. Ultimately, all the best moments from this movie were in the trailer, and it's a really great trailer for a good movie that could have been a really great movie. I can absolutely see this movie being a favorite for some people. Some people are really going to like this movie. It's going to work for them on every level. It'll have just the right amount of suspense, horror, thriller, character, mysticism to really vibe with them. Unfortunately, that was not the case for me, but my job is to tell you whether I think the average person should go see this movie, and that's why I'm giving this movie a go see it in theaters. There's really no other horror out right now. This will give you a good thrill. It's certainly possible that none of the things that bothered me will bother you, and I think you should go support this smaller budget film trying to do something original. Alright, you guys, let me know in the comments down below, do you agree with me that this movie could have been great and it was just good? Or did you really enjoy it and there was nothing that you would change? If you loved Ethan Hawke in this movie, then like, comment, and subscribe, and I will personally let him know. As always, Vince Banana, thanks for watching, and the rest of you, stay average.